I turned my bearded dragon enclosure from this into this, and I'm going to show you guys how I did that. Full disclosure, I did follow SerpaDesigns video, so please check out his video. It is the entire reason that I made this. Day one started out with a quick Home Depot trip. We ended up getting some insulation foam, some Quikrete color, which is what we use to paint, and then some XPS insulation foam, as well as some play sand for the substrate that we're going to show you later on. Our Home Depot trip has been successful thus far. This is my list. We have to go to a different Home Depot for another one of these Quikrete colors. But they have everything else so far. I'm excited. This is our shopping list. You can screenshot it here. Just in case anybody was wondering how much it costs to do this, all of that was about $143, and I'm still missing the cocoa fiber and one of the Quikrete paints. So it's not cheap. So we went home and I started cleaning out all of his old accessories, and then we started the build. So we basically drew out the bricks that we wanted and then cut them out. This was Sean telling me that I was using the box cutter wrong. Anyway, we used the box cutters to cut the foam in the brick shapes that we wanted, and then we laid them all out and started figuring out what we wanted to do with them. You definitely do not have to be super specific with like the bricks. They don't have to be a certain size. Just draw them out and see what looks good to you. This is what we decided to go with first. It has a support system. We did end up changing it, as you can see later on. This is Sean cutting out some of the ledges. And this is the build that we decided to go for the end product. And he is the brains behind this operation. And then we laid out all of the bricks on the floor. I'm calling them bricks because that's what they look like to me. They're definitely not bricks. But anyway, we started the spray foam process, which basically looked like this. I will say that the spray foam did end up like expanding the entire build, and you're gonna have to end up cutting a lot off at the end. But this is how we did it. Since we decided to make this piece a background that could be easily removed whenever we move, this spray foam was a great way to keep everything together and keep it solid without having to use silicone to basically permanently put it in the enclosure. This was really great. It kept it really stable. Anyway, this is how it turned out. This is a very much trust the process kind of thing because it looks like crap right now. And then we started on the background pieces. We add that little ledge. It does look a little lonely by itself, but it'll make sense later, kind of. He started making cracks with the box cutter, and then we used the drill bit tool to very messily like make some rock texture. It was completely just eyeballing it, just putting, deeper cracks everywhere to make it look natural. And then he went over with the box cutter and made those cracks a lot deeper so that you could see them. And that was quite time consuming, let me tell you. And this is what it looked like when it was all done. We even got the cracks to line up. This is day 2. This is when we started carving off the expanding foam and also using the drill bit to do the same thing, as well as adding texture to the blocks. And I think this worked really, really well. Highly recommend this method. It did take quite a while to carve all of the pieces off, and it was a gigantic mess, but it looks perfect. Behold. This is when we finally decided to trust the process. The wire brush drill bit worked perfectly to make this all look like it was actually rocks. I think it worked amazing. Sean went over the whole thing with a pass of the heat gun. This basically tightens the foam up, makes it harder, makes it more stable, and makes it less likely that smog will scratch the bricks, basically. And then we moved right on to start the tinting process. This is the dry lock that we used, the same that SerpaDesign uses in his video. We started out with the black, and as he also stated in his video, this is the most important layer. You need to cover up absolutely everything. Make sure that there's none of the pink showing. Make sure there's none of the foam showing. This is super important to lay out a perfect base for all of the other colors that you're going to put on later. This took a very long time. I will say that. But teamwork makes the dream work. Am I right? Anyways, we sat here for about 30 minutes trying to paint all of the holes and make sure that everything was covered in the really dark black so that we could have a perfect base for all of the rest of the colors. And here is what it looked like when it was finally done. It does emphasize the cracks and the texture. I think it looks amazing. Yeah, and then we did the same thing with the background. We didn't paint all the way down because we were running out of the black, as you can see. However, this is what both of those pieces look like. And then we left those to dry overnight and then moved on to day 3. We are using the brown color today, and we're basically using a dry brush technique to go over everything pretty much, but still leaving the black in the deeper cracks. As you can see here, there's a big difference. I think it's really important to keep the brush super dry too. You definitely don't want to lob a bunch of paint on there because it's just going to look like you did another coat of the black, and you want it to sort of overlay with the black, if that makes sense. Pretty much right after that dried, we moved on to the terracotta color, and I used that same dry brush technique and went over the top layers, definitely not putting any color in the cracks because it leaves that dimension that we want, and it ended up looking like this. And moving on to day 4. And I got back from my internship to paint on the same terracotta color onto the background, and I think this turned out absolutely amazing. Super proud of it. I would like to say that I wasn't super precise with this, but at the same time I was purposely trying to put the brighter colors, like more paint in a certain area in comparison to others, definitely lining the cracks with more of the color, as you can sort of see that I'm doing here. That's what I tried to do, and I think it ended up really great. Just definitely avoid the cracks when you're painting because you want that darker color to be deep in there. This is what it turned out like. Very happy with it, very proud. Pretty much right after that dried, I moved on to the buff color, I believe. It's the lighter brown of the two, and went over everything. I pretty much just put a light layer over everything because it didn't really need a whole lot of it. And this is how the final product turned out. I think it looks amazing. I am super proud of it. Definitely gives a more Australian sort of feel. I think that Smog is going to absolutely love it. This is me posing with the final creation. And then the moment I was secretly waiting for, my pieces not to fit. It's okay though, it was pretty easily solved. We pretty much just cut the bottom off like an inch and added little notches in the sides because the Zen enclosures do have little notches that bring the sides together, so it couldn't be completely flat. But this is how it looked like. And then I added in the actual ledge part and then added in some substrate. So we did 1 part play sand, half part cocoa fiber, and half part topsoil, and I think it was a really great mixture. And then I hid these from Smog, but I'm adding in some powder blue isopods and some powder orange isopods. Hopefully he doesn't find them and eat them. He's crazy. This is what it looked like. I think it looks really great. I'm really excited, and I hope that the isopods stay alive. Also, you'll see it in the final clip, but I did add a top layer of Jurassic natural Australian desert sand to the top of that so that he wouldn't find the isopods and kill them. Anyway, this is the final product. I'm really proud of it. And I know that people are going to ask why I decided to use fake plants instead of real ones. My bearded dragon eats anything that is the color of anything green because he's always been just a fantastic salad eater. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to check out SerpaDesigns' video on this. It's a much better tutorial in my opinion. But I'm really happy with this, and I think that Smog loves it. And if you guys decide to do this, make sure to show me. I would absolutely love to see it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.